Right. Today we are going to talk about how does a job interview differ for different kinds of jobs. Okay. So as you have been preparing for your mock interviews, either this mod or last mod, depending on if you're a day or a night student who's watching this, um, we were preparing for the standard interview questions like what's your strength, what's your weakness, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Those are standard interview questions that you might find in any industry. I want to work in real estate. They're going to ask me those questions. I want to work in banking. They ask me those questions. Okay. Those are not healthcare specific. Where you need to start also prepping yourself is for the healthcare specific type questions that might come up. So you have your resume and it says you know how to do coding and you know how to do billing procedures or working with various insurances. And if you want to be a biller and you want somebody to take you with no experience, just schooling, and put you into a billing position, you're asking a lot of them. You're asking the doctor to take your entire financial future and put it in my unexperienced hands. And that's a big thing to ask them to do. Hopefully, so how do you get your foot in the door is what somebody would then ask me. Hopefully, you can get hired in as part of a billing team where we're not putting the financial future of the practice in your hands. We're putting it in a team's hands and they can mentor you. That's how I got into this. I got hired in as part of a 3-person team. One of them was getting ready to go on maternity leave in about 4 months. She was about halfway through her pregnancy. They were bringing me in to train me so that when she went on maternity leave, our department continued to flourish. And it was not a temporary position. This particular young lady, she did not want to come back full time after the baby was born. So they felt that with her coming in 10, 15 hours a week, me, the third girl, we were all good because they needed a little help anyway. So they felt it was perfect. And it was. The main girl, the one who did not go on maternity leave, she took me under her wing, taught me so much that I could then go into another office and run the show, which is what I did. Okay. So hopefully that's how you start. Okay. And that's how big offices are going to be. You're not going to have one person running the show because there's too much work for one person. So here are some of the questions that I will usually throw out to my class verbally during our conversations on interviewing. If you've got experience, they may ask you what specialties, because there is differences between billing for primary care to surgery to physical medicine. They are different, and so they may want someone who has experience in their specialty. Do you have certifications? Okay. They may ask you, how do you code? You have on your resume that you know ICD and CPT coding. They may say, how do you code? They may ask you about the claim form. They may ask you about Medicare, Part A or Part B. They may ask you about modifiers. They could ask you anything they want if they wanted to see. Now, this has been my experience, that when you interview with an office manager, they don't know anything about billing. Nothing. Like literally nothing. So they'll ask you all those questions like your strength, your weakness, blah, blah, blah. If they then find that they think you're promising, they may say something like, do you mind if I have the head biller come in and join us on this interview? That means you passed hurdle 1 because they're now letting somebody else interview you. And then that's where the real questions are going to start. Okay. They may ask, who knows what I got here? They may give you a test. They may give you a written test with questions. They may give you code books and say, code these, and give you a little quiz. They may give you a midterm test. They may give you a typing test to test your speed. There's a lot on this document that's on my screen that is really old. But How many modifiers can go on a claim form? They give you a payment and they want to know how much would you charge the patient, and they give you a picture of a payment and ask you to do that. So if you're saying, I know all this stuff and I want you to let me do this for you, they may say, prove you know what you're doing. So those are some of the questions you might be asked. I think I had another document. I don't read like everything on the screen. There's a lot on here that I'm like, I can't imagine somebody asking. This document is more written if you're the one who is hiring a biller. So they're saying, ask to explain the process of writing an appeal. Ask them how to do an accounts receivable, an AR. Ask them about work comp. Ask them an insurance contract. Ask them about verifications and pre-authorizations. Okay. So if you know how to do it, and you have on your resume successful in writing insurance appeals, they may say, tell me about your appeal writing. How do you do that? So be prepared to be questioned and quizzed, tested perhaps, on what you have on your resume. So don't embellish is a good way to say it. As you get out on externship and you have some hands-on experience, you will be able to add more things to your resume, and you'll know these things not just in theory in the classroom, but in practice. Yeah, if the office is able to show you some billing. I've had students before tell me that their externship site won't let you get involved in the billing. And my recommendation to those students is ask if you can shadow the biller. I understand you not wanting me to do things because if I screw it up, that's money. I get that. Can I shadow the biller? Can I sit and just watch her for a couple of hours? Can I see what she does? Can I listen to her making phone calls to insurance companies? You will learn so much by just listening and watching and asking good questions. And you may find that the biller has some basic tasks that they might let you start doing, especially if they see that you're interested. So your externship can get you some invaluable experience. So hopefully you've picked up some tips on how to interview and get your mind thinking on how to answer some of these questions so that you can get into the career path that you're looking for. Now, not everybody's looking for a billing position. Front desk, different kinds of questions. Front desk is going to be a lot of customer service questions. Things like, how would you explain to a patient what a deductible is? How would you handle the patient who's extremely irate because they have to pay their deductible? So they're going to be more customer service oriented and organization type questions for front desk. Billing and coding are very different things. If you want to be a coder, they're really going to test you on coding. That's the only test there is. Billing is all of these other ways of how the claims get paid. So be prepared for the interview for the job you want. None of that's going to be on your mock interview. Your mock interview that you're doing here through Ross is going to be the standard questions. Tell me about yourself, strength, weakness, things like that.